If you have insurance, you're noticing the prices have skyrocketed. There's no secret that every state and every city and almost every zip code has gone up in price. I'm lying. We have some customers that actually have gone down in price. In general, the US has increased about 20+% across the board with insurance. We're talking home, auto, life, health, all of the pieces of insurance are increasing. Part of it's inflation, we get that, but we're gonna go over some of the pointers that I would give to friends and family that you should really focus on, because there are some major things that can impact that 20% to where it goes in reverse. I've had customers save 20% when the increase was 20%. The first thing is the pet peeves. So pet peeves you've got to think about is you can't compare yourself to someone else. Your neighbor pays a different rate because they're a different risk. They have different ages, they have different families, they have different, the location is the same usually because your neighbor, right? So that's usually not a factor. They have different credit, they have different cars, there's different symbols. There's a lot that goes into an insurance policy that change that risk. The car alone has a symbol. That's how many deaths are in that car on average with this insurance company. How many claims are in this car with that type of policy. They know that the symbol of a car, and they don't control the symbols, those are outside vendor that does all that, but the symbol of the car with this type of family. We know that risk is tied on average because they've done hundreds of thousands of customers previously. Every little piece that your neighbor is, that pet peeve is like, oh my gosh, don't tell me your neighbor pays less. Go insure your neighbor then. that's just kind of, it's part of the job, right? If you're not willing to accept it, then you shouldn't be in insurance. The other part that you've got to focus on is, what profile do I have? Not so much profile, let's back that off. Let's say, what coverages do I have or do I want to have? I've got a lot of friends. I've got myself that carries what's called a Premier package. And that Premier package gives me $3,000 rental car, accident forgiveness. It gives me claims deductible reductions, and it gives me not at fault claims don't count against me. My pet's covered in my car. There's a whole package that you can purchase with a lot of companies. Not all of them offer it. Usually your kind of preferred or your standard policies are gonna offer that. And that package can be a couple $100. Now, everyone under the sun talks about price. Price does matter. Price is get the cheapest deal, you gotta get the best deal. And I can promise you, you do not wanna focus on that. Yes, there are companies that, compared apples to apples, will take the most common, right? You've got State Farm and Allstate. You've got Progressive and Geico. You've got Farmers and a State Farm, right? Those are common ones to compare. They're different companies, but they're very close as far as coverage, as far as service, as far as quality. Although State Farm did downgrade a while back, and I think they've come back, but they've lost some of their financial stability, right? So they're hurting a little bit. That means their rates are probably gonna go up. So even though you might get the good deal now, it might change later, right? It could be the same with anyone. It could be the same with Progressive, could be the same with Geico. All of those companies have different rating factors, and to compare those two is impossible. It's just almost the piece that we were growing up is try to find the cheapest deal. Now, don't get me wrong. The reason people say that is because your average claim is uncommon. I have had one claim, I've had glass claims and stuff, but I've had one accident in my entire life. There's a good chance I never have another accident again. So me paying the $300-400 a month that I pay for car insurance, it's less than $400. It better not go to $400. Oh my gosh. Me paying that is because I want to protect the possibility of that and my future. I'm protecting my income, I'm protecting my assets, I'm protecting everything by having those limits and those packages in case something does happen. I don't want it to disrupt my lifestyle either. So that's one of the reasons I could save a few $100s by going from company A to company B, and that's fine. But you've got to decide whether that's worth it, and it may not be. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person if you don't want all the bells and whistles and all the things that you typically don't have on a normal policy. Most policies are your standard policy. You cover your car, you cover your liability, you maybe have towing and road service, and that's it. You're boom, there you go. If I have a claim, I want it to be handled in X amount of time. That's where it kind of falls off a little bit. The cheaper companies take forever. They don't have the right claims, they don't have the right contracts, they're not tied with companies that give you warranties. So there are like things like that. There are the headache stories. Put them in the comments below. I want to hear them. Let us know what company you joined that was cheaper, and then how it either was a great thing or was a bad thing. The things that you gotta think about what your agent's thinking of when they're shopping the insurance. If they're just 5-minute quotes, they're not really an agent. They're a call center. They're trying to get you in the door. They'll get you the cheapest coverages. You've got to be very careful with those. I've got friends that do that, and it's just not the way most independent agent or local agents operate. If you are shopping for home or auto insurance or any type of insurance, I'll put a link in the description below where you can fill out a quote. It's sometimes us, my company, and sometimes it's states that we're not in. There are a few, but if that is the case, we've connected with other local agents that help do what we're talking about, right? They're going to shop you with multiple companies, take that profile, put that fit in with the right place to try to get you the best deal, but also try to get you the best coverage mixed with the right policy, right? So that's going to give you the best options overall. That link is in the description below. So going back to getting you those best prices is, yes, we've got to stop focusing on the price. Just know, if you're willing to take the time and sit down and say, what do we really want to cover? Do we care about road service? Do we care about towing? Do we carry that higher liability? If you have good income, then probably, right? Do we need the cars covered? What deductible are we willing to pay if we get in an accident? How much are we willing to risk? Before you even look at a company and look at prices, if you want to do the perfect scenario, what discounts do we think we could get? Honestly, if you think of something, there's probably a discount for it. Am I an alumni at a college? Or was I an alumni? Do I have a degree? Not always a discount, sometimes. Am I retired? Am I part of the Harley Davidson club? Am I part of a credit union? Am I anything that I'm part of? Sometimes even being any association with almost anything impacts the rate. Those are the things. I've got the coverages I need to have. I've got the discounts that I think I can apply for, and I need to start looking at these options. So you can either A, go shop your own, start going company to company, and that's fine. Like, you call 10 of them and you can find out which one offers the best. Questions you should ask: are you filed for a rate increase in the next 6 months or 12 months? That way you're not getting in the door to a deep discount. Am I getting a new customer early shopper discount? Is that something that comes off over time? How much time? Knowing that can be a deciding factor, because if you're saying it's $10 cheaper over here and I really think the company's the same, then I'm going with them. But then that discount falls off after a year and a half and you're paying more over here. It's not worth the time. Now you've got to reshop and do all the things. In general, before you go in the link and click at it and fill it out, I think if you have an agent you trust, go to them first, do what we talked about, make that profile all over, make sure your credit score is good. I've got a few videos on this channel that will go more in depth on that and keep you in the loop as far as what's the next step, which companies are impactful. That's where you would subscribe to the channel. If you don't fully understand what coverages you need to have, I've got a Car Insurance 101 that's gonna go a little bit more in depth on the coverage specific ones. If some of those discounts made sense, but you're like, are there others? I've also got a discount video here that will go in depth on some of the discounts a lot of people are missing. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.